Hi, I'm Ruth Childs. For those of you who don't know me, my specialism is working with musicians with focal dystonia to enable them to resolve that. The process is slightly different if it's embouchure dystonia or if it's hand dystonia. I normally work across a period of 10 sessions with people with focal embouchure dystonia and around 20 sessions with people with focal hand dystonia in order to resolve that. And I've been recording these series of videos. They're really for educational purposes, enable for you to understand where your dystonia is coming from and to be able to do some of your own work around that in order to help resolve it for those of you who are on your own personal journey with this. Although I would say, I've talked in previous videos about adverse events and their impact on the nervous system. There are certain adverse events that we do need to be accompanied in order to be able to resolve them, and actually it's a symptom of the impact in the nervous system, this feeling of wanting to work it through all on my own. Okay, so I would just like to give that caveat, but I really encourage as much work as you can do on your own and really becoming self-aware and aware of what's happening in your nervous system, the better, okay, in terms of your recovery. And that's my aim with these videos. So the last couple of videos I recorded, I've been talking about attunement. I've been talking about it in terms of our early life, our infancy and our early life, and then in terms of the attachment that has sometimes created between us and our musical instrument. Today I wanted to talk more about attunement and about some steps around repairing any attachment breaks and attunement that you might have had. I think the word in itself, attunement, really explains it so graphically. I mean, we know as musicians that before we play together in a group, we need to tune our instruments. We need to tune to make sure that each instrument is in tune with the other one. And we know what that sounds like and what that feels like above all. And the friction, that internal friction that creates when we don't do that, when we play and we hear each other out of tune. And then there's even further aspect of that. Then when we are playing together, we're not just concerned with our own individual part that we're playing. We're really listening deeply into what our fellow musicians are playing. And we're creating this sort of unison between us where we all have our own individual expression, our own individual parts, but they're parts of a whole, and we have this attunement with and this oneness with what each of our other the other musicians that we're playing with are creating, and that's how we create this one piece of music between all of us. So as musicians, maybe we have a really deep understanding of attunement that other people perhaps don't have that same experience, and that really helps us. So when we've had this break in attunement, meaning that as children, the adults around us weren't listening into us in that way, a number of things happen, and I don't want to talk so deeply into that today, more about how to repair it. Okay, but a number of things that do happen. One of it is that we don't feel safe, so our nervous system becomes activated, hypervigilant. But the other is we almost have this sense of either not being worthy of attunement, not being good enough, and we actually stop attuning with ourselves. Part of that not being worthy to be attuned to means that we stop attuning to ourselves, and we start becoming attuned to other things, other people's expectations, the way other people do things, the environment that we're in, and we almost begin to sort of detach from ourselves, become disassociated from ourselves. And bear in mind that what's happening with this dystonic movements, to some degree, it's about becoming disassociated with the hand or with the embouchure, okay, so or the tongue or the breathing. So it is related in that aspect. So that means that part of our healing process is coming back to being really attuned to oneself. So what does that mean? It means taking time each day just to really listen deeply into yourself, to not be listening to all the noise around I've got to do, I must do, and all that acceleration that's going on inside of yourself, or allow that acceleration just to be pushing you through. It's actually about stopping and creating stillness and silence, and just listening into that stillness and silence, listening deeply into yourself at a mental level, at an emotional level, at a physical level, connecting into your body and feeling it at the most subtle and deep levels that you can. Where's the well-being? Where's the tension? Where are you holding on? Where are you able to let go? How do your feet feel on the ground? Every part of the body. You can even just start at the feet, feeling the soles of your feet, and then gradually moving upwards, both feet at the same time, left and right at the same time, then gradually moving upwards to include in your awareness the whole of your foot, inside, surface, top and bottom, on the side, either sides, right into the bones, into the muscles, into the space that's in your foot. And then you bring your awareness up to include not only your foot but also your ankles. And then not only your feet and your ankles but also your calf muscles, your shins, the lower leg inside, outside, the sides, the front and the back, the skin right down into the center of the bone. And just deeply feeling into it, just as it is. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to be different. Last time, or the time before, I talked about, the attunement comes from the fact that you're fine just the way you are. This acceptance. It's like an acceptance of you the way you are. So, one exercise is to really do that at a physical level, and then listen into the silence inside of you, in your heart, in your mind. And even being able to listen into your own awareness. What is awareness? Where does it come from? What does it feel like? And it's not about answering those questions. I'm saying those questions to give you an idea of how to feel into, how to listen into. And you may not feel or hear anything. There may be a nothingness there, and that's also fine. Just allow that to be. And as you practice that on a daily basis, you will find that you will begin to become attuned to yourself. You'll begin to come home to yourself in a place of self-acceptance, acceptance of who you are and how you are, and that's all that needs to be. And as you create that attunement with yourself, that's hugely powerful in repairing any attachment issues and attunement issues that you have from your early life or even later on in life. So I really, really encourage you to attune with yourself. And then from that, once you have that, from that deeply attuned place, is to then to attune to other people, to deeply listen into and feel into the person who's with you. So that there's almost this equal balance between the amount with which you're listening and feeling into yourself and the amount that you're listening and feeling into the other person who's with you when you're in social engagement. And that's when the real attunement healing happens. And the real attachment healing happens. So I really encourage you to, first of all with yourself, attuning deeply into yourself, and then take that skill to attune to the people who are around you. It's marvellous. It really is marvellous. So I'd love to hear, as time goes on, or even now, and then as time goes on, your comments, your experiences of doing this. It's profound and it's deeply healing. So thank you so much for listening to me, and I wish you well.